Okay, we're going to go ahead and get the Region 5 meeting of the Texas High School Athletic Directors Association started. We feel like we've got a great program for you today, led off by our esteemed athletic director, Dr. Susan Elza, and Brian Polk, also from the UIL. I would say that it was not our original plan to have them on today. And when we were at the Spring Sponsor Showcase and watching Governor Abbott make his announcement, as Susan was literally walking into the building, we thought it would be a great idea to have her on today and possibly be able to answer some questions and maybe point us in the right direction, as a lot of us are contemplating possible changes after the governor's announcement. And so we're going to go ahead and get started. And Susan, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you right away.
All right, awesome. Without knowing everybody that's on here, I think, and I don't mean not personally, I don't know, I can't see everybody. I can see some people logging in on the side, but I want to say, first of all, we're here at the State Girls Basketball Tournament. Brian is not. We're taking an abbreviated staff to everything that we go to because of the costs that are associated with it. So Brian's holding down the rest of the UIL ship, but we both wanted to hop on here with y'all and have fill in some gaps for you if we can. I want to say congratulations. Like I said, I don't know who all's on here, so it's just easier. Congratulations to all of y'all that have teams competing in our Girls State Championship over the next 2 days. And congratulations to those of y'all that qualified boys teams to compete on Friday and Saturday. Y'all know that y'all heard us speak enough that it's really a huge victory for us. If there's loud noise, somebody's vacuuming in the background, I don't really know what to do, but it's not me making terrible noises. But we celebrate every championship, and y'all know that the Girls State Basketball Championship was the last state championship that we were able to host. And the boys got cut short. And on Saturday, after we crown champions, if y'all think we aren't celebrating, you're crazy. And I hope that y'all are too. 100,000 times I've said this too. Everybody wants to give the credit to UIL. Everybody wants to give it to Dr. Brydup or Dr. Harrison or Polk or myself or whoever it is. And I'm going to tell you that the true heroes in all of this have been the coaches, the athletic directors, our superintendents, embracing the protocols and going with it. And we are going to continue to finish these seasons. We are. And, it's funny because you get, I've only done a couple of interviews. Dr. Harrison is really our spokesperson for UIL, but I know one that I did at football, this one lady was just hounding me because I said, we're going to have a baseball season this year. And I don't know what anybody would ever want us to think otherwise. And I know that you guys are very key in that. But that's our last sport, and we're going to crown champions in it. So keep going, keep doing what you're doing. Let's talk about the governor and a little bit of the curveball that he threw last week, which is not a negative thing. I don't want anybody to ever mix my words for negativity, but we do have to wait once he announces. We have to wait on two things. One, first of all, we're hearing it when you're hearing it. And number two, we have to wait and see what TEA is going to put out for guidance for the classrooms. Anything they put out, we've got to mirror that, and we want to mirror that. It makes it easier for every school administrator, every school personnel to be able to, administer this pandemic that we're all living and surviving. So with that face coverings piece last week, he did, and we're kind of living it right now here at the Alamo Dome. Today's the first day in our state that we do not have to wear face coverings. Unless the facility that you're going to or the restaurant or whatever requires it. So y'all read what we read. If the school districts are all still wearing face coverings, unless they take some board level action to remove face coverings as a requirement. I told Brian Polk this, I told Dr. Harrison this. I think some school districts in our state had an emergency meeting today, probably at 7 a.m. to get rid of face coverings, because some of our areas in our state are not as hard hit by the pandemic. It's just the reality of it. Some of the school districts are not going to let go of it, and they're not going to release it. So if you're competing against another school, and I know for probably y'all's competitive DECs and all that stuff, all your members, y'all probably all talk all the time. I know you do. But for any of our sports, if you're going to a venue or you're going to another school district and you're unsure of what they require, your coaches, however y'all are handling it, they need to call them. Because if their school is requiring that you wear face coverings, then you're going to have to wear face coverings there. I've talked to a lot of different levels of athletic directors. Our staff has too, and it's a little all over the map. I talked to the 2 1As out here today. They said they ain't gonna wear no more face coverings, but they understand here at our state tournament, because the Alamo Dome is owned by the city of San Antonio, that they have to wear face coverings. So that is, I think that, you know, I look at it as, you know, I always try to look at it, if I was sitting in the shoes of a athletic administrator, you know, what would I recommend? Because I mean, obviously this is probably a superintendent level decision. And I want us to finish seasons. So I'm always going to think, you know, if your school district is in agreement with it, stick with the protocols that got you here, and let's finish these seasons. It's going to get better and better. Y'all are hearing the same vaccination news that we're hearing. And it's obviously, you know, this state is going to be at a point where the majority of people in this state are going to be vaccinated. And I think they said even maybe potentially by June. So as those things go, we will go with them, but just know it's really going to be between the two schools, the two competing schools, how the face coverings piece works. If you go to a regional site, if you go to a state championship site, they should be communicating to you what their expectations are. It is site-based, literally on some of those protocols. And y'all will see, we're still, you know, in our mitigation that we got from TEA, we are still, you know, recommending the distancing, the cleaning of you know, disinfecting of things, the locker rooms, all that stuff. I mean, the majority of that stuff we were able to keep in there as recommendations, and we will continue to recommend that. With all that being said, I know that, you know, I'm going to cover just a couple more things, and then Brian's going to get into a little bit more on the weeds, where we are with some of our state championships that we haven't had determined. 2 things. One is site, and I know there's a lot of questions about structure. He's going to get into that. And then just some of the other nuts and bolts that we got. I'm going to hit just a few quick hitters just in case y'all missed it. If y'all haven't noticed, we're communicating a little bit differently, which is not a negative thing. The first thing we do is send any changes to our council members, our 32 council members that are the rulemaking body of our organization. They're all superintendents, and that's how we flow. I think everybody knows that. It goes to them, and then it goes to the superintendents first, and then it goes to either the athletic folks or academic folks or music folks. I think that, you know, in this pandemic, with the highest authority being in the school is the superintendent, even if they're not reading that and they're forwarding it on to y'all, I mean, especially those of us that are in 5A and have been in 5A and 6A, those superintendents, they're trusting you to do that job. 4A and below, it's just a little mixed bag. A lot of times the superintendent is in an acting role as an athletic director, and they're just trying to make sure that superintendent, that school has the first bit of knowledge to share as they see fit. So as we continue to send those out, I don't know if it'll remain that way. I think it's just right now. But I told Brian the other day, I know for me, it's a little frustrating that the coaches that need it are getting it very last, but that's not a negative thing either, because you're getting it. The things that are coming up. So this is posted on our COVID page. If y'all are looking for information that has been released about athletics, always go to that COVID page. That's where they put everything for every extracurricular that we have. And I'm about to hit on physicals right now. The physicals. That was an email that was sent out probably about 4 to 6 weeks ago. I'm losing timelines in my old age, but they're up, they're posted, and we're back to the traditional rules. Okay, incoming 7th grader got to have a physical. 1st and 3rd year athlete got to have a physical. Okay, the physical form on our page is updated. It is the one that you will use for the 2021-22 school year. So for those of y'all that are maybe planning those mass physicals like in the past, it's go for it, get after it. You've got everything you need. We're back to old rules. For those of y'all that are in districts that require physicals every year, I've never been in a district that didn't do that. Get after it. You're ready to go get your physicals for next year. Summer strength.
Can I
Yes,
ask you a question about the physicals that's come up
sure.
in the chat? There is a question that at what point, though, will the requirement for physicals basically start? Will that be with the start of competitions in the fall or with summer strength and conditioning?
This is a great question at a great time. And let me tell you why. It has always been summer strength and conditioning. I think, and I'm going to tell you, even myself as an athletic director in schools, I don't know that I understood physicals to be that way. But all of your kids going into summer strength and conditioning should have a physical on file. So that's a safety thing that I think that UIL has not done a great job of communicating, and what better time than right now. Don't you agree, Brian Polk? Because there was a lot of folks that don't realize that, but yes, it has to, they would have to have a current physical on file for that summer strength and conditioning. Good question, Ray. Thank you. The summer strength and conditioning. So the 2 hours a day for the strength and conditioning, still the same. Okay. We kept the 90 minutes. There are folks all across this state, particularly out west in El Paso area and down in the valley, and then sprinkled across the state, that aren't getting any off seasons with their kids, just due to the preponderance of COVID cases in their communities, and they're being ultra careful, and we can't fault them for that. So we're keeping the skill piece, 90 minutes of skills per day, only an hour in any one sport. Okay, so that allows that multi-sport athlete to get time in each sport. We're staying Monday through Friday, and we are going to reevaluate this for the summer of 2022. Okay. Brian is posting a document today. It is on that COVID page, but Brian went ahead and updated our strength and conditioning document that y'all are accustomed to looking at and having. It should go up. Jessica's going to post it after we get this first game started here. There are no dead dates for this summer. Now, I can't tell you if there's going to be dead dates for 2022. We had originally created those dead dates to help TGCA and THSCA to get the people in person to clinics. So people that wanted to go to clinics did not feel like that they were getting behind. We also, of course, liked it because it put people in person at our CCPs, and we think there's a lot of value in that. So those things will be determined by our executive staff, Dr. Braddock and Dr. Harrison, probably a little more so Dr. Braddock on that one. But if you've got what you need to plan for this summer, there's no dead dates. Probably the number one question, and I would think Polk would agree with this, that we're getting right now is, when can we start? Okay, nothing's changed on that. I think everybody's just forgotten that you start when school's done. When school's done, you finish. You finish the school year, you start the summer strength and conditioning. When does it end? Well, it ends for the ones that start season August 2nd at that point in time. But if you're a baseball, softball, basketball player, you get to go all the way up into the first day of school. Some people have lost sight of that change that we had modified in that. It's not set on a calendar, and it doesn't have this limitation on the number of weeks. You get to control all of that at your district level. So there's summer strength and conditioning, and hopefully you guys have everything you need on that, especially when we get that document up today, just as a good reminder for your coaches to have in their hands. Camps. I want to remind everybody, we did not cancel camps last year. We did not cancel. We were not the ones not allowing y'all to have club leagues and things like that in your gymnasiums and being able to swim in your natatoriums.
Yep.
That was coming from the TEA level. So that you're back to normal this year, as long as you've got your local district approval. Get after it. Have summer camps. Have volleyball leagues, have 7-on-7 leagues, whatever you're doing, you're full go at the discretion of your district. Let me see. Tentative calendar. And Brian and I talked about this morning. The tentative calendar is on the front page of our UIL website. It's up in the upper right-hand corner when you go to that main page. And if y'all will notice, if you haven't looked at it, it basically, we've got everything added back in terms of regional tournaments and full state tournaments. Okay. We plan to stay with that. We took cross country back. Y'all know we had a staggered start in cross country and volleyball and football and all that. That's all gone. Okay. We're all starting on the same traditional dates that we have for football, obviously pending if you're having spring ball. That we have not put out any changes to the meet information in two of our sports, team tennis and cross country. But we will. But if they're planning right now, they're still using the old parameters, so to speak. But the reason we don't want to put anything out right now, it is May, what is today? May 10th. It's March 10th, not May 10th, March 10th. Oh my gosh, I would like to be at May. Anyways, it's March 10th. So the reason we haven't put anything out is because we want to get to May and we want to get into June before we put out any new correspondence. Want to just get a little further in this and not continually change stuff. Volleyball, we did put something out there. They can have volleyball tournaments. It's a little restrictive. It's not terrible. Allows 4 teams on site, as many as 8 teams in a tournament. That will probably grow, obviously. And a site is a gymnasium. So if you've got 3 gymnasiums, you can have a lot of teams at your school. If you've got you've got a lot of gymnasiums in a multi-school district, you're going to have a big old tournament again. Okay. You're just going to be a little, the cautious pieces and those indoor activities that we need to maintain so that we don't have some sort of setback. And then basketball, if you read it, it basically says that we're waiting to determine tournament, information. They're going to have them. They're going to have regional tournaments. Again, it's just a little too early to be putting that stuff out when we're not real informed, just not completely informed at this point in time, but we will be, and we will get it out. Tell your coaches I like saying this, tell them to chill out. It's all good. We're going to have them. They just need to plan them, and then we'll give them any parameters that we may have.
Susan,
yes.
let me ask a clarifying question on the tournaments, because I know that you talked about this last week at the Spring Sponsor Showcase. I thought that you had said, and maybe you just reiterated this, that the limit on the tournament, at least for volleyball right now, was a total of 8 teams. Am I wrong about that?
It's 8 teams, but if we have the ability, I mean, this is how Brandy and I've been answering. I'm not sure how many questions Polk and the rest of our staff has had, but it's 8 teams on one site. So if you've got 8 teams here and 8 teams there, and then they end up swapping places, we don't care about that. I mean, we had to put something out. And there's a lot of people that are writing on that thing, and we had to put something out just so that people could plan. And it's not a total of 8 at all.
This question has come up like from some of our coaches, and I know Debbie and I, we host a collective CFISD Katy volleyball tournament, and the typical structure, and a lot of volleyball coaches have asked this, is to have pool play very much potted off like you have mentioned the first couple of days, and then group those teams differently the last few days or the last day based on the results of that pool play. I don't know if I'm going to ask this question the right way, but if the tournament limit is 8 in one site and 8 at another, could there be a mixing of those 16 total teams out of that pot of 8, original 8, or not? Or do they have to stay in that pot of 8?
Yeah, I need to, Pokey, to remind Brandy how I'm answering this. I'm just kidding. It's not, I'm not worried about it. I know what I have told Brady, because I said, give them all the flexibility in the world. So how you're asking that question right now, the answer is yes, y'all can do that.
Okay. So we would be able, if we had a multi-site tournament with 8 teams at each site, that would allow us to scramble those teams based on early tournament results like we have in the past.
For sure. Okay. For sure. I didn't love the way that we wrote that. Y'all got to remember, we don't write every single thing. It's a whole thing at the UIL when stuff is disseminated. But what we did all agree on when that was written was that it at least gave some flexibility, and that the athletic staff would be able to define that flexibility. And our goal is to make sure, even if you had 8 teams on one site and they were going to go to another site, that's okay too, because to me that was what was confusing about it. It was like, you can only have 8 teams, period, and that's not what we intended. So hopefully I cleared that up, but y'all know that that the whole plan on that is flexibility, and you'll see more as we get closer to May or June when we release the rest of our information.
So the only way of looking at it, at least for now though, is you just can't have more than 8 at one site at any given time. Right.
Yes, it's 4 on site with no more. It's confusing the way we wrote it, but yes, you got it. You got it. I should have given that to you, Polk. All right, so I saw this. Somebody got ahead of me. Coach Cripps, you got ahead of me. So the off-season sports allowed to have the 1-hour strength and conditioning prior to after school once school starts, like this school year. Are we having? Okay, I may have read that funny, but let me just say this. The 1 hour of strength and conditioning outside the school day for off-season sports still remains, okay? There is going to be a survey item. I don't know if y'all recall this, but TGCA had, and I think really Sam was toying with the idea. I don't know where he is with it now, but should we make that the option for them to do either skills or strength and conditioning? Now, I know that Brian and I and our staff have talked to a lot of people that were freaked out about adding skills outside the school day. They were comfortable with the strength and conditioning, but they weren't real comfortable with that. And I'm not speaking for everybody on this call, but there is going to be a survey this spring to the superintendents, with some sort of question that's equivalent to that. But as it is right now, it is the 1 hour strength and conditioning outside the school day will remain for off-season sports only. So hopefully that helps y'all. The broadcast of Friday night football, which is a very, very hot topic. And I think Rusty said that they had surveyed it or were going to survey it. THSCA shared their survey results with us, and it was overwhelming that they broke it down by conference and region and all the stuff that they do with that, kind of like what we do. But it was pretty overwhelming that people want the option to broadcast on Friday nights. So there will be action off of that survey item at our June council. And right now, I don't know if our June council is going to be via Zoom or in person. I think Dr. Braddock is still determining that. But that broadcast item, I think, will change. If I'm looking into a crystal ball that nobody can take to the bank, it'll probably still be, it will probably result in, unless we still have attendance restrictions, but it will probably result in an agreement between both schools. Okay. If we've still got some attendance restrictions next year, or certain school districts do, we're going to have to navigate that and make sure that that's a fair rule. So just hang with us. Y'all give a lot of great input, and that input is always shared. So I see that changing next year for football, and I just don't know what direction it'll go. I did spark a thought in my head on the spectator stuff, because I know that I got a couple texts just yesterday on the seating restrictions. Those are gone. Okay, all of the seating restrictions in any district are gone unless your district decides to have a seating restriction, a spectator restriction. Okay, so it was at 50%, and now it's here at this venue, they're keeping it to, I think we're sitting at 25% here in San Antonio. So each one of y'all, just understanding where you're going, to participate in an event, in a sport, whatever it may be, that venue is going to be the one that's going to set that spectator limitation and any of the spectator requirements within that facility. Okay. I think some people missed that or didn't understand that because it wasn't, exactly spelled out in there. But that when you go and you look in that document and you're familiar with that document, that part has been removed. Atavus is time to renew those coaches that were certified previously. And that will be, I know that THSCA is doing some of those clinics, they call FAST clinics. I think they've got one coming up in El Paso. We will have the online version posted sometime in April. Polk will be getting that information out as we have it. We don't have a definitive date from Atavus when that will go on. But it's basically any coach that was previously certified. If they were certified last year, obviously their certification lasts for 2 years. Okay. There's an Atavus 1.0 for the brand new coach, either to Texas or to the profession. And then the 2.0 is for the ones that have already been certified in the past couple years. Water polo, don't forget, it was supposed to start in 2021, and that and another music activity we asked for a little bit of grace on to push it back. So it will actually go into a realignment year. We will ask for those designations. I mean, I'm guessing on this. This is what we traditionally do. Sometime in October for y'all to designate what varsity sports you intend to play, and they will go into alignment next year and will be announced, in February of 2022. TASO is going to be in charge of the water polo officials through our sports officials committee process, which has Andre, Walker on there and a couple of our other athletic directors from across the state. They will set the fees for water polo officials, and then it will also go to council. I know that the ADs Association, Rusty and Bob will be involved in gathering input on that through their committees, which is so helpful. So Mike Bass, I know you'll be a big part of that as well. So anyways, the first time we will discuss that will be coming up in April at our sports officials committee meeting, and we do not have that meeting date set just yet. I think it's probably going to be April 21st is what I think. So that's a lot. I'm going to kick it over to Polk, and he's going to talk about those sports that we don't have set yet, and track and our qualifying structure and all that stuff, and then we'll take any questions y'all have. So Brian, take it away.
Yeah, and I'll be really quick. Just going back to what Susan started off with, probably what happened to y'all in each of your districts when the governor came out and spoke. We got bombarded by parents mostly, but by coaches immediately asking if we were going to, allow full qualifiers in track and wrestling and tennis, all because we don't have to wear a mask and we can put more people in the stands. And y'all know as well as I do that the majority of our protocols had nothing to do with us having to wear a mask. They had everything to do with the COVID piece and kids and coaches being able to test positive for COVID, and then having to worry about the close contact piece that we all have to navigate through. And that hasn't changed. So just moving forward, we do not see any changes in any of our postseason structures for any of our sports, which it really is talking about individual sports. Y'all know as well as I do. I mean, I've said this every time I get on one of these calls. A normal regional track meet for one conference has 100 schools, plus or minus. Could be a little bit more, a little bit less. That's 100 communities coming in at once. And even though we may not have to wear masks and we can put more people in the stands if that site chooses, it did not change close contact and it did not change COVID. So now we're down to 50. And a lot of our regional sites, I mean, you put 50 communities on a site right now, they're even a little bit leery right now with just 50. So we are not changing that. We would love to. These are not things we want to have. We get blamed because, we're cutting out opportunities for kids. And y'all know we don't want to cut out opportunities for kids. But it is what it is, like it has been all year. And we just can't afford to put full qualifiers right now at venues right now. And a lot of people are not comfortable doing that anyway, and we wouldn't have any place to hold those. So we don't see any changes coming to postseason. Y'all know for track, we really just limited from area to regionals. We're only taking the top 2 rather than the top 4 that we normally do. The state meet, as of right now, it's not limited at all. We do not have the state meet set for track yet. We hope to have some clarifying information from the University of Texas by the end of this week. So that we can get a plan out within the next, 14 days about what state's going to look like for track. I know it's going to be, we're going to have to split up conferences for sure. I couldn't see us having more than 2 conferences a day. However we do track, if we're at the University of Texas and we have a state track meet this year, I could imagine we're going to go to 3 days rather than 2 and put 2 conferences a day. If for some reason we can't go to UT because there's so much involved with that, with the capacity piece, with the construction they've got going on. And then y'all know with those college venues, they're testing every kid that comes on campus right now, and we're not doing that. And our state track meet brings in over 1,200 schools and, 2,400 kids on a normal year. So we're having to navigate through all that. We're hoping to get that information out as quickly as possible. But just to kind of reiterate, we don't see any changes coming to our postseason qualifiers from an individual sport standpoint, even though our mask mandate may change at different sites and the capacity may grow. It doesn't change anything for our schools and our kids. So that's really all I have for that. If y'all have any questions, please shoot them at us.
Well, I've got a question that's come up recently from a couple of different schools, and they're asking, we talked about capacity. There's been a question about the capacity of our individual workout areas because that was obviously set by TEA, et cetera. And so as people are starting to move forward with off-season activities and then planning for summer strength and conditioning and whether to include middle school students or not, a lot of that's going to be based on the amount of kids that we feel like that we can get into a weight room or workout area. Have those capacities changed? Have that been lifted and it's back to the individual ISD to determine that or not?
Yeah, it's back to the individual ISD on any capacity.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
the other,
Good question, though. Good question. I mean, it's some of that stuff, it's so back here because we're still trying to get this year finished. That's a great question for everybody. I mean, those capacities are going to be determined by y'all.
okay, and then Susan, I asked this question, and I thought I knew the answer, and you confirmed this, but several different athletic directors around our region have asked about the proposed officials increase that was laid out there for next year as people are finalizing budgets. Could you address that?
I mean, Andre, you're gonna have to help me with this one, but I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that is done. I mean, the officials themselves pulled the consideration, and I don't see that they're going to come back at this spring sports officials committee and ask to reconsider it or anything like that. I think they understand that all schools are in a financial crunch. Heck, UIL's in a financial crunch right now. I mean, we lost a ton of revenue just like y'all did. So I think that is gone. That doesn't mean a year from now or even next fall that they're not going to come back with some proposal, but there's nothing that's headed to council, as of this time. And Mike is certainly not going to blindside this ADs association with some proposal in the spring that we're all unaware of.
Okay.
I just wanted to hit again, Ray, on the capacity piece, talking about weight rooms and stuff like that you were mentioning a while ago. And not for anybody to be scared, that may be a bad word, but just remembering that the COVID piece is still there and the close contact piece is still there. And if you've got kids that are in sports that are still trying to get to the postseason, I mean, we lost basketball teams in the playoffs still, and just people to make sure they remember, just because the mask and the capacity piece has changed, all that other stuff, and maybe you having to shut down a program because you've got a widespread of close contact pieces, all that's still into play. So, it's like the district piece that we changed for track and tennis and wrestling. We're given a little bit more leeway of having more kids involved if it's easy enough, but we know, I know I've talked to a number of districts, they're leaving it split. And you don't have to, but I would just be smart depending on where you're located on how you do all that.
I think Susan hit the nail right on the head, though. I think that communication is going to be exceedingly important between ISDs as we travel and compete against each other, because now with the flexibility that's out there, different ISDs are going to have different protocols. And I don't think our parents are going to really understand that. Right after the governor made his announcement, I know here in Cy-Fair ISD, we had issues immediately that night with parents not wanting to wear masks, even though that his mandate didn't come into effect until the executive order till today.
Yep.
So I think just that communication piece between us, as Susan said, I think is going to be exceedingly important.
Yep.
Anything else? Well, guys, I really appreciate you guys being on today. I know, Susan, you're at the state tournament. We're excited about being there tomorrow, and just thank you guys for what you've done. I know that you kind of tried to deflect the praise, but it's amazing what you've allowed us to do and to keep our activities going, and your leadership through this has been just awesome. So thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. See you tomorrow, Ray.
See ya. Okay, we're gonna move on to the sponsor piece of this, and I'm gonna start off with Whataburger. Not that I favor Whataburger over our other two sponsors, but I know Jennifer Osowski has a place to be here pretty soon. And Jennifer, I'm going to allow you to kind of lead us off, and thank you for being here today. You're muted.
Sorry, I hit it, but it didn't hit. Okay. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. First and foremost, I just want to say, as a parent, thank you so much. I know that it has been quite the crazy school year. I also am the parent of a 7th grader who was able to start sports this year at school for the first time. And so I just thank you guys so much. And I cannot, just listening to the couple meetings that I've been on here, everything that you guys have to keep track of and know and communicate is amazing. So just as a parent, thank you guys so much for making this school year happen and for making sports happen as well. So now on to business. Again, another thank you. Thank you on behalf of Whataburger. Again, I know it's been a crazy year, and I know that many of you have fed your teams at Whataburger, so I wanted to say thank you. And I am here to again talk about school dining program that most of you do know about, but I know that the school year is winding down. I know you're setting budgets for next year. So just wanted to talk about the school dining program real quick for you guys, or even if you have, if your booster clubs take care of food for you, if you could pass along this information to them, we would certainly appreciate it. But we do have a program that you guys can sign up for that you get special pricing. You don't have to pay the menu pricing at the restaurants. You can, part of being in the program is you can get invoiced if you want, but you can also pay on site when you pick up the food. So it's not required to be invoiced. But you do need to be signed up for the program to be able to get the school dining pricing. And it ranges anywhere from $3.50 for getting just a plain Whataburger up to, let's see, I think it's $6.75 is the most expensive. And that's a double meat Whataburger with cheese. And that's the meal. So I think that the pricing is extremely reasonable for the types, for the size of food that Whataburger offers. And we've always had bigger portions, and which is perfect for your hungry athletes, because I know that they expend a lot of energy. And then the last thing that I wanted to just throw out there is that we as Whataburger do work on sponsorships with school districts and with individual high schools for their sports programs. So if you have somebody that handles that for you, and my information is over here in the chat, my phone number is there, my email is there as well. I have a team of 3 that work with me, and we cover the city of Houston, the greater Houston area. And we'd love to talk to you guys about sponsorships and how that works within your programs. So that's it for me, keeping it short and sweet.
Thank you, Jennifer. We appreciate Whataburger. I know I certainly appreciate Whataburger multiple times each week. So
thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And next up would be Jareel Combest from Daktronics. We're a Daktronics customer. Jareel and his team do a great job. So Jareel, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. As Ray said, my name is Jareel Combest. I'm the sales representative here in the Houston area and the greater surrounding Houston area. First, again, I want to say thank you all athletic administrators. From a former athletic administrator, I appreciate you guys doing this hard work in this COVID season and keeping that bright spot for your communities to get the student athletes out there and just kind of keep a sense of normalcy. Also, thank you to the association. Thank you guys so much. We definitely appreciate this partnership and relationship that we have with you. And we also appreciate the spring showcase that we just got finished. We enjoyed ourselves. And so we're looking forward to the one that's up and coming in June. I think pretty much everybody knows Daktronics. We are the industry leader in video displays and audio and scoring solutions. So we take pride in that. Now, we got a lot of the area schools there. And like I said, if you guys want to know what's the latest trends in video and scoring solution, what's out there, what's next to come in the new generation, please reach out to us. Like I said, my contact information is down in the chat below. I'm not going to bore you with a presentation, but I look forward to seeing you all here pretty soon in person, and definitely upcoming this summer. So once again, I appreciate it and thank you all for the hard work that you guys do for us. And like I said, we look forward to visiting with you guys soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Jareel. And then finally, we've got Brian Cox from Field Turf. We're also been a Field Turf customer. And if you've seen our new baseball and softball facilities, they turned out beautiful. Brian did a great job in particular. And so, Brian, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you.
Thank you, Ray. I appreciate it. Guys, I just want to thank everybody on this Zoom meeting today for your continued support on behalf of Target Sports, which is not only Field Turf, but also our Bine and Track brands. We really appreciate you guys and anything that we can do to support the association and everybody on here is our first priority. I also wanted to shout out to Rusty and Bob and your guys' entire staff for last week's spring sponsorship meeting. I know it wasn't easy for you guys to try to put that together. It was very exciting for us to finally be able to get out and about and see people. And my 3 kids really appreciated the fact that I was able to take them to the pools on Sunday afternoon and get some energy out. My wife was even happier about being able to do her schoolwork and catch up on lesson plans without us being around the house. So again, big thumbs up and a kudos to you guys for trying to put that thing together. It was awesome to see people again. One of the things that I wanted to just kind of bring up, and it comes up many times a year, is just to let you guys know with the fact that, trying to fight through COVID, not being able to see you guys in person, which is one of my favorite things of the job, and being able to get on campus and walk fields and walk tracks and see how our products are holding up, and spending time with you guys is just to kind of inform you that we try to do our best, especially in June, July, of making sure that you guys walk all of your fields for the fall sports, and make sure you get to us if any necessary repairs or warranty work or anything like that, is we try to get those crews, keep them busy over the summer months, so that when you guys get into August and everybody's back on campus, we're not in a mad scramble trying to fix things. Same thing goes with our tracks. We have track cleaning programs, restriping, repairs, warranty work, anything like that coming into November, December, before everybody gets back from the holidays. We need to start walking those tracks with you guys, making sure that everything's in tip-top shape for the track season. And one of our biggest growths now in our industry is baseball, softball, like Ray had just mentioned, the complex over there at Sci-Fair, and making sure that coming into November, December, January, that we're with you guys, we're walking those fields, making sure all the high traffic areas and everything is in tip-top shape and ready for your guys' season. Again, I just want to thank everybody on this meeting, this region. You guys mean a lot to me. I'm from Houston, going to be moving back to Houston very soon. So everybody means a lot to me and my family. And I look forward to finally being able to be on your campus again, seeing you guys in person, hopefully shaking some hands and some fist pumps, and walking your tracks and fields with you. And if there's anything that you guys need from us, we're here for you. And I really appreciate your time. Anything that we can do for you, we're here. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian. Bob, before we get into the committee reports, do you have anything that in regards to the sponsors?
Just a quick comment. A big thank you to Daktronics and Whataburger and Field Turf for being with us today. And not only today, but those three sponsors, along with 29 others who made the Spring Sponsor Showcase possible. It was so great to see everybody and have a chance to do some in-person experiences. We'll show more about the showcase in a few minutes. But I think we all realize that without the work of sponsors like these three, we wouldn't exist the way we do as an association. So a big part of our growth and success goes to the people like Whataburger, Tack, and Field Turf, and those others that help us with that. So just a big thank you to you guys. I know you probably got to pop off, but y'all have a great day, and we'll be seeing you soon.
Yes, thank you, guys. That event last week was really good event to see everybody, and really to see these sponsors and their peers there. So really good, great event to get to see everybody in person, and we appreciate you three in particular. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to transition into committee reports, and we're going to start off with the membership and Scott Molick from A-Leaf. Scott?
Hey, good morning. I guess probably the most important thing is to make sure that if you haven't renewed your membership, that you must be a member in order to attend the state conference. And Rusty has kind of set a goal of trying to reach 1,200 members this year. As you see in this chart, we're currently at 1,149, but we could potentially be at 1,293 if we could get some of the people that were members in the past to rejoin. So what I did yesterday, I sent an email out to 30 plus people in Region 5. And if you received one of those emails, if you're on this Zoom meeting and you received one of those emails, that's letting you know that there's an issue with your membership, and to contact Allie. She can assist you. She can give you an invoice. But if we get all those people back, we'll be at 353 for Region 5. So, but if you look at that chart through all the regions, we have a good chance if we can get some people back that were members to surpass that goal of 1,200. So other than that, that's about all I have. I was going to try to play Zoom by the Commodores, but that's probably a little bit above my level. So I'm going to cut it off at this point.
Well, I know that we've talked about this before. We're nothing if not competitive people. And if you look at that chart, we're getting within shouting distance of Region 3, gosh dog it. And if we could just get some other people to sign up and surpass them, that would be a great thing. So I know we're going to redouble our efforts here in Sci-Fair to look at people that might benefit from that. And I think that we all need to probably do that as well with our own districts. Thank you, Scott. Up next, we're going to have Ronald Jackson for Tack. It was good to see Ronald last week. Ronald, I'll go ahead and turn it to you.
Okay. First of all, good morning, everyone. No new reports from Tack, but, and I see Mr. Dowling is on this Zoom, and I'm quite sure he did or will speak about this, register for the state conference. And we're going to have those courses at the state conference. And I'm excited because the last email I received a few days ago, we get to be in person again. And so register for that, and then we're going to have those courses made available there. And the reason why I'm so good in person, I want to thank everybody too also, because I was on a Zoom call at 9 o'clock with the UIL because our boys made it to the state tournament. And I did tell the UIL this morning, and I told them I was going to tell you guys as well. I want to thank everybody in this region. We've kind of all accepted and moved on with the new norm. Being able to use certain districts in the high school gyms throughout this playoff run has been tremendous. So I want to thank Galena Park, Humble, Manville ISD, HISD, Aldine, Sci-Fair, Sea King, Katy, Clear Creek. And if I forgot anyone, please charge it to my head, but not to my heart. And then what I did like about going to these gyms, I looked at how each individual department did things. And I picked up something from how y'all dealt with COVID and how y'all dealt with the protocols, what y'all were doing between games, before games, and, bring it back to our district as well. But again, I want to thank all the districts that allowed us to use their sites. And, I called 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock at night or 8 o'clock in the morning. I think Debbie was kidding me one time. She said, man, she thought her and I was dating at one time. We called so many times. So, but we did a good job. Okay. So thank y'all.
Thank you, Ronald. Up next is Armando Jacinto from Spring ISD with publications. And before you give your committee report here, Armando, I just want to say congratulations. I saw that you're named as the athletic director to succeed Willie there in spring, and we're so happy for you and proud of you. Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate everybody's support and messages that you sent me on my appointment. It's gonna be got big shoes to fill, but I learned from the best, and it's gonna be good shoes to fill. I'm very excited and happy to carry on what coaches started, and hopefully can continue the success, build on success that we've had the 6 years I've been here. And thanks everybody for your support. As far as the committee, there's nothing that I have, but we had a scheduled meeting with the new committee director, but they canceled it for I don't know what reason. But right now there's nothing to say to add other than whenever we have the next meeting, he's rescheduled it. Then I'll have an update as far as but I know we'll be publishing something for the AD conference. Am I correct in that, Coach Dowling? I know we'll have something there. So whenever I get some info with that, I'll forward to everybody as far as articles for the magazine.
Ronald and Armando both mentioned the conference, and I will say this, that the Kalahari Resort really was a first-class resort. It's really pretty neat place, and I think everybody will enjoy that in June. Really great place. Andre, the athletic committee.
Good morning, everyone. We have no new news. Everything that Susan reported was things that we needed to know, and so I don't have anything to add to that.
Okay, Coach Zepeda, anything with the awards?
Yes, I just want to say at the spring sponsors, we had a real good awards program there. I think it went very well, and just want to thank Bob and Rusty for making sure we got a chance to do that. And in our area, we had Andre Walker was recognized in our AAA Frank Gillespie Award. Paige Hersey was the NFHS Citation Award. Ray, once again, was the Regional Athletic Administrator of the Year for Region 5. And formerly Rodney Chant, who was with us, he was Administrator of the Year. He was in San Angelo now. And we look forward to, I know in the event coming up in June. They're gonna honor the Hall of Honor people with Dr. Bradley, Mr. Steve Williams, and Mervyn Dambrino. That's gonna be coming in our next coming up conference. But it was an outstanding event, and it was an outstanding place to have the event. Thank you.
Well, we're going to still claim Coach Chant, because when he won that award, he was here with us. So we're going to claim him. I don't know if Vince is with us. Probably par for the course. I don't know if he's there in San Francisco, what's going on. But Vince, are you there? That's what I thought. Missing in action. Mike, Bass, officials.
Ray, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Ray. We will be having a meeting today at 1 p.m. with our officials committee, and we'll be able to report back what we discovered and what we discussed today at the next regional meeting.
Very good. Sandra, what about NIAAA news?
April the 6th, we have a CMA, a CAA test. And then also Rusty provided a date for us, June the 6th at the state conference, 8 o'clock that morning. And then the national conference is December 10th through the 14th in Denver. So that's all I have. Thank you, Ray.
Very good. Okay, so Rusty, what was it, Bob, you said earlier, His Highness. Rusty, I'm going to turn it over to you for state business.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. And it's always good to see Vince Sebo. It's always good to see Vince. So I want to, first of all, I want to remind everybody that the state conference registration is up on the website. It is open. We encourage everybody to get pre-registered. Their pre-registration is $100. There will be a $150 on-site registration at the Kalahari. Right now, registration is going very well. We're getting members or getting registrants all the time. So we encourage you to attend. We believe everything is going to be good by then. And it's going to be a great conference at a great place. Certainly one of the best places we've ever been. And I encourage everybody to get registered to attend. Support your association by going to the conference. There is an outline of the agenda. Some of you have requested that you need a copy of the agenda. We don't have the final agenda done, but we do have an outline of the agenda on the website that you can certainly get to should you need that. We're going to ask all of our, we've got the golf tournament is going to take place, which is the Hellas Construction Benny Carter Memorial Golf Tournament. We are selling whole sponsorships for that. So we're asking all of our members to help us with the whole sponsorships. That information is also on the website. And we're going to ask each ISD to bring 2 gifts for the mega drawing. Now, Vince Sebo is in charge of our mega drawings, and he will be again for this conference. So we're asking each ISD to bring two gifts to the mega drawings, bring them to the conference, and we'll have a place for you to bring those and drop those off for us. And the last thing I want to talk about before I turn this over to Bob is I want to thank everybody that came to the Spring Sponsor Showcase. It seemed like we've been planning that thing for about 5 years, and finally it came to fruition where we were able to have it. So those of you that came to support, we appreciate it very, very much. We realize there's a lot of you that couldn't go, even if you wanted to go, but we hope to see you all at the state conference. I want to commend Rodney Savat on the awards night that we did on Monday. I thought that went very well. We're glad to be able to give out our awards, finally, the 2020 awards. And I thought that program ran very smooth. So kudos to Rodney Savat and the committee that oversaw those presentation of awards. So again, thank you. I also want to offer my congratulations to Armando on being named the new athletic director at Spring ISD. Congratulations. You're going to do a great job, Armando. Do a great job. And you're right, you had a good mentor with Willie. So good for you. Now I'm going to turn this over to Bob.
You almost forget my name. Is that what it is?
I did momentarily.
Well, Your Majesty, you are forgiven, sir. I know you're a busy man, and names are not your strong points, so that's okay. I want to echo what Rusty said about Rodney and the great job he did with the awards committee. He's been navigating through COVID and all our cancellations and rescheduling, just like y'all have for your AD jobs for the last, well, it's been over 12 months. And he's done an incredible job with he and his awards committee just to get us where we could have an award ceremony for our deserving ADs at the showcase. So thanks so much to Rodney for helping us navigate those difficult waters. Just a couple of announcements. When you register for the state conference, I would strongly advise that you do not call the hotel directly. If you do, you probably can get a room, but it may cost you twice as much because we've negotiated a really good rate for a resort of that quality. So you'll use the link that we provide you. When you register, it'll remind you that you need to be a member in order to be able to attend the conference. So you'll need to update your membership, kind of like what Scott was saying, to make sure you're eligible to come to the conference. When you complete your registration, you'll be given access to a link for the hotel and also for golf and the Hall of Honor. That link will be immediate, and then you'll also get an email reminder with those same 3 links on there if you have to do your golf, your hotel, or your Hall of Honor registration at a later date. Regarding the golf, it's $100 to play. We're going to be at, I think it's Star Ranch is the course, a really nice course in Hutto, only like 5 miles from the resort, so it's very convenient. It's $100. For that, you'll get 18 holes of golf, all the tournament services. You also get a great Whataburger breakfast and lunch provided by the golf course and some great prizes. You can buy your mulligans and you can put your shirt size down, and you can also, we're going to ask you guys to help us get some hole sponsors. They're $200 a piece. As an ISD, you may not be able to do that yourself, but you may have an exhibitor or a sponsor you want to hit up so they can get their name on the course. The only request is, since it is the Hellas tournament, that we not have any turf companies that are either playing or sponsoring. Let's see what else we have here. Awards update. Rodney did a great job on the update. We're finishing up our regional ADs of the year, and Ray may have some announcements on that today or soon for your region. And then we're electing the Joe Bill Fox winner that we'll recognize in June, along with our national awards, our new regional ADs of the year, and of course our Hall of Honor inductees have been waiting so patiently since last March for their induction. And let's see, I think that, regarding the rooms at the Kalahari, if we were not able to attend, each room, the basic room can sleep up to 6 people. You can give you 2 queen beds and also a hide bed. So if you are interested in bringing a family or a couple of kids, or if you want to invest a little more in a room, you can have a separate bedroom. So you can even put your assistant AD in one room, you in the other, if you're trying to pinch a few pennies. But it is an outstanding rate. The amenities of the hotel, there's like 8 restaurants in there, and there's also, there's even a bowling alley, a kids play area, and the biggest water park in the nation, I believe. It's indoor and outdoor. So it's a great place to go as an AD. And if you bring part of your family or friends, then it's a great place to do that too. I think I will probably have 2 or 3 grandkids in tow that will be enjoying the water park also. So that's all that I have. Ray, thanks for your time today. Appreciate it. We're running a great meeting, so I'll let you continue.
Okay, just a couple of other things. Vince did text and say he was out trying to look for mega drawing gifts right now. That's why he's not here, and he's already packed his Speedo for the indoor water park in June. So something to look forward to for all of us. That'll be a mega drawing gift for all of us. I do have an announcement, or just a couple of things. I'm going to go ahead and send that outline agenda, Rusty, that you mentioned that's on the website. I'll send that out to everybody at the conclusion of this meeting so that you can at least see the bones of the conference and what's being involved. I do have an announcement regarding the regional AD of the year. You know, we had 6 very deserving nominations for regional AD of the year, starting with Willie Amendola from Spring ISD, who will be retiring. We mentioned him earlier. Mike Bass, who's on here with us, Paige Hershey from Spring Branch, Danny Long from Conroe ISD, Jerry Prieto, who did a really good job in his first year at Crosby ISD, and Andre Walker. From that, we ended up with a runoff between Willie and Andre. And I'm excited to announce today that at the conclusion of our runoff voting, that Andre Walker was elected as the Regional Athletic Director of the Year. So Andre, congratulations. You know, all 6 of these people were very deserving. You certainly are. We appreciate you and know that this has been a difficult year, but you've kind of soldiered through with a great deal of positivity, very deserving of this award. So congratulations. With that being said, I'm going to get right into, we have a panel today, and I'm just going to ask a few simple questions. We're not going to take very long, but going back to Susan's point about the communication and the stark differences that we could now have between districts when we show up to compete with each other, I think it's important to have somewhat of an understanding right now of where we might be going in regards to the mask, the capacities for spectators, and it might be helpful for some of us to hear at least what we're each thinking as far as strength and conditioning. So I'm going to start off with, first of all, one question to each of our panelists, which is, what changes are you anticipating to both mask requirements for spectators, and what changes are you anticipating to capacities for spectators? So Debbie Decker from KDISD, I'll start with those 2 questions for you.
Yep, and you know, we actually are having some internal talks, and our principals are actually going to be informed today about those. So I can't get specific other than to tell you that because if the principals aren't able to be told first, you know, before the whole world knows, they get a little upset about that. But we are going to be loosening our restrictions in terms of capacity, both indoors and outdoors. There still will be capacity limits indoor, but not as restrictive as what it has been. And those will start the Monday after spring break. As far as masks go, we're still, you know, individuals, patrons must have a mask when they come into our venues, inside or outside. You know, we're still going to ask that they social distance and whatnot. However, if they do take their mask off in the stands, we're not going to go and harass them or tell them they have to put it back on. But if they're walking around, and especially when they come in the gate, then they will have to have the mask on.
Andre, same 2 questions for you about mask and capacity.
So right now, we're not changing anything. We still have the mask mandate. Capacity is still at 25% for district. And of course, each time we go to the playoffs or host a playoff game, we increase that to 50%. And so we will continue that. I would tell you we had a large crowd in last night, still under 50%, but it was a pretty good crowd. It was Huffman and I can't remember who they played, but great game. Had a little issues with the mask, but everyone was really receptive once we told them, hey, you have to put your mask on. But yeah, we'll continue with what we're doing, and we'll look at this summer and start making changes then.
Troy, I know that you texted me, said you had a great board meeting last night, and maybe about the mask wearing. So as far as mask and capacity for spectators, what does it look like in Humble ISD?
Well, we were at 25 to 32% on all of our capacities. Before, we're going up to 50 to 64%, depending on the facility. That'll start today, actually. The board voted last night that they are going to keep the mask mandate indoors and for employees, but outdoors, they are lifting the mask mandate. So if someone comes up for a baseball or soccer game, they are lifting that outdoors.
Okay, Debbie Fox, Clear Creek ISD, any talk about the mask or the capacities?
Once again, our mask mandate will stay the same. We are not going to venture off from what we currently do and what many of our neighboring districts do. When it comes to capacity, we involve our community a lot. And so we have a safely reopened committee that is going to convene here within a week or so, and they definitely help when it comes to making decisions and giving recommendations to our school board. So when it comes to capacity, we're still going to continue at that 28% going up and outside going to approximately 50. But right now we are staying the course.
Mike, what about you guys in Alvin? You got to unmute, Mike.
There we go.
There we go.
Alvin ISD is going to continue with the mask mandate. Everybody will need to wear a mask. And then as of right now, we are not increasing our seating capacity. We're right at 30%. And the district released last week that we will keep with our COVID protocol for the remainder of the semester.
I know that, Vivian, what about you guys in Galena Park? What are you guys looking at with mask and spectator capacity? Vivian, you with me? There we go.
Yeah.
Girl.
We're going to, did meet with the superintendent as soon as the governor made his statement, and we're going to increase to 50% for spectator attendance, but we're going to still continue with the mask mandate. So when spectators come, and I'll make sure that, I'm corresponding in 21-6A especially, and with the mask to make sure that people understand. But, we spoke with the officers. When they come in, they must have a mask. Now, if they pull it down, we're not going to have an issue. We don't want, the superintendent does not want to be on television with an officer, dragging somebody out because they don't have a mask on. So we're going to, just ask them, hey, keep your mask on. And if they, pull it down, we're not going to create a scene.
I know that we've got some other ISDs represented on the screen, and I just want to ask this question because I do think it's helpful for us to kind of see what everyone's doing here in our region. Armando, what about you guys in spring? Have you guys talked about the mask and the capacity?
Yes, sir. We're going to keep. And we're working with Aldine, with Dre and Mater and Coach Mater and Colbert. And but as far as spring ISD, we're going to keep the same protocols we have. But we're kind of like what Vivian said. They have to have a mask, but we're not going to be the mask police. And we try to keep them apart, but we're going to stay with the same protocols that we've had all year and finish the year that way.
So what, just in general, what are the capacities that you're allowing? Like, let's say at baseball and softball right now.
We're going 50%. We're going 50%, and we have to adjust because all our facilities have different capacities. So we went and counted, and we gave the directives to our coaches as far as how many we're allowing into each facility. Because for example, at George Stadium, we do track and soccer. That's 7,000 seats, but you go to Westfield or Decaney on-campus facility, you're talking about 2,000 people. So we have to make sure that we give them approximate amounts because there's different capacities at those three facilities. Same for our baseball and softball fields. So we communicated that, and they communicated that to Aldine, and vice versa, Aldine to us.
Coach Mater, I know that Coach Jacinto just talked about y'all have been kind of in communication. Anything that you would want to add about Aldine ISD and your plans there?
We're the same, Ray. We haven't made any changes. The superintendent, we're still with our mask policy. We haven't changed any of our seating capacities at this time.
Okay, Scott, what about you guys in A-Leaf? I know that y'all have been very conservative given the kind of the course of the virus through your area. Any changes on mask wearing or capacities?
Yeah, no, I don't see any changes. We've been right around 20% or lower. And during soccer, we pre-gave tickets out to the opposing teams. We haven't been charging admission for anything this year, but we have limited spectators to pretty much family only, parent only. So we give them a certain number of tickets. And then in baseball, we're doing pass lists for parents, baseball and softball. And then probably for our district track meet on the 2 days, we don't really expect a big number during field events, but on the 2 days, prelims and the finals, we will be doing, we'll pass out in advance some wristbands. So the families will have wristbands in order to get into the district meet.
Coach Jackson, what about you guys in Beaumont?
Same thing. We're going to keep with the standard we have right now, 50% capacity inside facilities and outside facilities athletic contests. And we are going to require a mask to be worn at our athletic contests before you enter. And again, just like the majority of athletic directors stated, now they have to have their mask on once they enter. We want them to keep their mask on if they're walking around. But if they're in the stands and they take it off, again, we're not going to be the mask police. We're going to continue to make announcements, practice social distancing, keep your mask on, wash hands. But as far as trying to go around the police, we're not going to do that. But we're going to keep 50% capacity. I think we're probably going to keep that standard to the end of the year. And then I think that superintendent is going to see where we are in preparation for summer athletic not contest, some athletic activities, as well as moving forward for next year planning in August.
So, one of the things I did prior to this meeting was look back at our notes from the summer, and we were all within 5 to 8% of each other as far as capacities. And so what we just heard is a big difference moving forward between different ISDs about what those capacities are. And we're talking about internal, maybe games that we're hosting, regular district games. I think that obviously what might happen, we even heard Andre say that when he's hosting, there's a little bit different capacity when he's hosting outside groups. And so I think it's going to be incumbent on all of us to really talk to each other. And especially as we get forward towards the playoffs and get towards April and May with baseball and softball, that there's a true understanding, maybe even on contracts, about what that is, so that we can get in front of that, because nobody that's hosting probably an outside event needs to be getting crossways with an outside community as they're coming in. So that's all interesting stuff. I'm going to pivot from that to really summer strength and conditioning. And sometimes I ask these questions that selfishly, just trying to see what you guys are doing as we're making plans. So as you look at summer strength and conditioning and maybe having those beginning conversations, I want to ask about 3 things. Number one, are you looking at an increase at your capacity in your weight rooms, your interior workout areas? What is that going to look like as far as percent capacity for interior workout areas? Scope, are you allowing a full set of athletes to attend? Meaning a lot of us had pinched back middle school activities last year, given the situation. And what are your plans for camps this summer? Are you allowing a full range of camps to be hosted at your campuses? So again, capacity in weight rooms and workout areas, inclusion, and then camps. Debbie, again, we're going to come back to you in KDISD.
Yes, we will. We'll include our junior high kids. We did last year, but we'll go ahead and have them in at the high schools again. Potentially, we may allow them to do some skill stuff on the campus, on the junior high campus, but we're working through that. As far as capacity in the weight room, we are increasing the capacity. Again, it kind of goes back to that announcement later on, but right now I can tell you what we're looking at, which is potentially 75% in the weight room right now. And then are we allowing camps? Yes, we went ahead and told our coaches to go ahead and plan on whether that's their individual camps with their elementary kids or some of our school sponsored camps, go ahead and plan on doing those. So our district's kind of taken the mentality that, yes, we will continue with the mask mandate, wearing of the mask, I should say, from now until the end of school. And it'll be reevaluated in the summer. But as far as everything else, we're looking at opening some things up.
Okay. Andre, what about you guys? Summer plans? Have you started to look at that?
So I'll meet with my plan with my team the week after spring break. We have a district committee who will look at those, and we'll come up, make some decisions from there to decide what we're going to do. As far as camps, yes, we will start our district-wide camps again, and really looking forward to those.
Okay, Troy, what about you guys at Humble? I know that y'all have done some modifications to your weight rooms, done some really nice improvements there. What are you guys looking at, first of all, with capacities maybe in those interior workout areas?
Yeah, I think it mirrors kind of what Katie was doing. I mean, we're going to increase the capacities. We're going to do camps. We're going to include the middle schools.
So when you say that you're going to increase, are you looking at some kind of moving it up, like Katie had gone to, maybe thinking about possibly 75%? Are you thinking about something similar than that? Are you kind of even contemplating going to full capacity?
Well, I think a lot would depend on what the board's going to require for masks once we hit the summer indoors. Last night they discussed whether they were going to take the mask mandate off during the summertime. If they took it off, my personal opinion, Ray, is I would not try to approach 100%. If they kept it on, then that may be a possibility. But if they take it off, I think it would be prudent for us to just look at limiting the capacity, just so we don't want to take those chances.
Debbie, what about you guys? I know you referenced that you have kind of like a reopening committee or a lead safely committee that you guys are utilizing. Have you you and your staff talked about though, what this might look like in the summer as far as capacities and inclusion?
We have, and of course, that's the big question that's raised by our coaches is about the weight room. I mean, that truly is one of their first questions that they want to bring up. But I can't give you any solid answers. I can say that Clear Creek ISD, I'm fairly confident that we will be able to host all camps and bring back our intermediate folks to summer strength and conditioning. So, but for me to say it out loud that this is exactly going to happen, I still have to get that exact word from my assistant superintendent.
One of the things that we've talked about with our coaches though is those two pieces about capacity have a lot to do with inclusion, because the amount that you can put in at any one time impacts the, how inclusive you can possibly be, because our coaches are already worn out a little bit right now. And if you start not being able to, you have to spread this out because your capacity is lower, you can have multiple sessions throughout almost all day long. That might make it to where the inclusiveness that we'd like to have might be impacted. Mike, what about you guys? What are y'all talking about there in Alvin ISD in regards to these issues with summer programming?
Ray, we're going to include middle school student athletes to participate in our strength and conditioning program. We will increase their capacity. We've not set that capacity percentage yet, but we will increase that capacity for the summer. And then camps, we visit with our deputy superintendent this morning, and he's given us the green light to go ahead and have camps. What we're going to think about, last year with our strength conditioning camp, we did not charge district-wide, and that's the first time we've not done that. Now there's talk to discuss in regards to charging for student athletes to participate next year. So that's one of our conversations we still have to have.
Vivian, what about you guys in Galena Park?
We're going, I did, John and I kind of met. He has the largest number. We did talk about how can we do this safely. We're going to make sure that I think we'll be somewhere 60%. Make sure that we have someone lifting. We do have a spotter at each rack. We're not going to put kids in the middle between racks anymore. They'll rotate in. I think he's going to work with 3 groups at a time, 2 out in the field, 1 in the weight room. Only thing the superintendent has asked that we have continued on with temperature checks for every sport before they come into a facility. Superintendent would like for us to keep that this summer also, and we'll go back to charging for camps. We didn't do that last year, so those are some of the different things. But we'll keep the temperature checks also.
So for us out here in Cy-Fair ISD, I mean, we're looking at it. We haven't made a final decision on middle school inclusion because, again, as I mentioned, a lot of that has to do with capacity and the amount of kids that we feel like that we can run through at any one time. I would think that we're probably going to loosen up our capacity a little bit. Probably a lot of that will be determined by, what happens over the next month or so with a number that we feel comfortable. I cannot see that we would be exceeding 75%, kind of like Debbie was talking about. I think we'll probably be in that range. We are going to go back to our normal pricing structure, just like I think Mike mentioned. We charged last year, but we cut our prices directly in half. So whatever they had traditionally charged, we charged half as kind of a gift back to our community. And I think that we're going to go back to our regular pricing structure as we approach this summer. One of the things that I would say is that I think that our next meeting, we don't meet in April for probably good reason, because it's just a crazy time in April with all of the events that we have. But I do think that this information coming from all of our districts is important information for us to be aware of where we are. So I know that, like Debbie mentioned, that there's decisions being made now in her area. I know we're all kind of at different spots in that process with this communication coming out last week. But when you get to a point of kind of, I think, things getting settled with your capacity for your interior situations and what your plans are, maybe shoot me an email or a text, and maybe halfway through April, I'll send something out just to give a summary to all of our membership in this region of what that looks like, because I do think it helps us in our own planning to know what everyone else is doing. Before we finish up, I do want to talk real quickly about physicals. There was a question on here from Willie about physicals and mass physicals this spring. I know here in Cy-Fair, we deal with 3 different hospital systems. We deal with Memorial Hermann, Methodist, and HCA, and those systems were very hesitant about doing mass physicals. And I think that we've come up with a structure that will allow us to have our physicals. You guys all saw that the UIL did say that we're going back to our old physical rules, and Susan mentioned that, and that those physicals need to be in place prior to summer strength and conditioning. So as we finish up today, I'm just going to ask kind of where you're at with physicals, how you're structuring that as we're moving forward. Debbie, we'll start with you.
Okay. Yeah, we're starting on May the 4th, actually. And I would say the biggest change for us from a couple of years ago is we're doing appointment times. So that seemed to help with those kids that we had to end up doing physicals on this past year, even though there weren't a lot of them. Social distancing, you know, all that stuff, dots on the floor. So, but yes, we're on schedule to start that. And answering, I think somebody asked how much we're charging for strength conditioning. We're at $125 now.
Okay, so Andre, what about you guys as far as how you're going to handle physicals, et cetera, in your district?
Right, we're kind of like you all with the different hospitals that we use, and so kind of waiting to get in contact with those folks. We hope to do mass physicals. That's what we're going to look to do. We actually was able to do some during the pandemic, right, you know, after we kind of start coming back just a little bit. So hopefully we'll be able to do so again.
Okay, all right, very good. Troy, what about you guys as far as plans for physicals, et cetera, and getting that done?
We do. I mean, we met last week with Memorial Hermann and our trainers. I mean, obviously we're going to do them differently. We're pulling our middle school kids out of class. I have assistant superintendent over middle schools that has been great, so that we can stagger those times a little bit to get the number of people at any one given time to where we can manage it and social distance. So yes, we start, I believe our first ones mid-April, and we finish about mid-May with all 5 of ours.
What we have been doing here in Cy-Fair is we've handled our middle schools differently and kind of had one physical day for them at 3 different high schools and divided up our well, in the past 18, now 19 middle schools in those 3 sites. We're going to get away from that because it's too many kids at any one site and pair up a geographically close middle schools with a high school, a 1-to-1 pairing, and then reduce the amount that we have at any one time. The other thing that we're going to try to do is try to do a lot of the pre-screening material early and schedule that, the height, the weight, the vision stuff, and so that we're not keeping those kids on site for too long. Debbie, what about you guys as far as physical plans in Clear Creek?
Well, we're one of the few districts, I believe, that still made our kids get a physical last year. So we're going to continue with that same process. We had them at our high school campuses. And I'm telling you, we got lots of volunteers and we had everything social distance. I was so impressed at every gym. We had probably in 3 separate gyms and what the doctors came up with. So we're going to continue that process. And my athletic trainers are extremely professional and they make that work for our kids. And the same thing, the 2 feeders will come to that high school later on that afternoon because we stay open till pretty late so we can get kids in socially distance wise.
Okay, Mike, Alvin.
We were just approved today to have our mass physicals on site. And in the past, we've always had our junior highs, the groups would come in and we'd go to each individual junior high and do it on their campus. And then up for the high schools, we're doing it on a Saturday. The question for us is just trying to find that organization out there that will come on campus and do our mass physicals, but we have been approved to do so.
Vivian, what about you guys in Galena Park?
We will, we'll do the same thing. We're going to start our pre-screening mid-April physicals, first week of May. We have 2 dedicated 6th grade campuses. We'll bus them over to the DeMint. We'll bus them over to GPISD Stadium. We take our middle school kids, our athletes that are in athletic period. We bus them over to each stadium on certain days. And then we'll have certain days outlined per sport for physicals.
Okay. Well, guys, again, I know that was quick. I think, again, one thing that I would ask, especially in regards to summer strength and conditioning plans, and then also to changes in what spectators capacity and masking rules, that if you make changes that maybe you could just, like I said, it could be an informal text or even an email, and I'll try to collect that up and maybe bi-weekly get out kind of an update to everybody about where we're at, just to keep people informed. I will send out the outline of the state conference agenda on the backside of this meeting. I do appreciate everybody hanging in there with us today. And then I'm going to close by just saying that it's been my goal since starting in this position of trying to really make these meetings to where they were meaningful for us and we felt like that we gained value. And we did mention in the last month that it sometimes gets difficult to continue to drive content or have content that is meaningful and that is helpful. I sure would like to be able to look at these meetings and feel like they're so good that all 300 members feel like that they have to be tuning in each month. So if you have any ideas for what this might look like in May, or things that that you want to know from your peers, please let me know. And other than that, I want to thank everybody for being on with us today. Rusty, thank you to you and Bob for allowing us to have this forum for talking to each other and meeting and getting together. So again, I'm going to turn it back over to Rusty, to you and Bob, and I want to thank everybody for attending today.
Ray, I had a question.
Yes, sir.
The runoff, when are we going to know the results of the runoff?
I announced it. It's
Okay,
Andre.
I missed it.
Andre Walker. You might have been
Okay.
going out and getting mega drawings with Vince at that time. But Andre, again, congratulations to you. Very deserving. And then, as has been mentioned several times, Armando, I don't know if it's good luck or condolences. Sitting in that chair is a little bit different, but best of luck to you. We're certainly very proud of you.
Thank you for that, Ray. And when it's always different till you get in that chair. And I know I'm in this chair now. I know there's going to be some things that, so I'm probably going to reach out to all of you to get some input and feedback and just ideas on moving forward, along with Coach Amendola. And like I said, big shoes to fill, but I couldn't learn from anybody any better. And thank you.
Well, I don't know if Willie's still on here because he pops up with a text message or comment here and there on the chat. But again, congratulations to Willie on an outstanding career, both on the field and off the field. He did a great job, and so appreciative of him and his friendship. So congratulations, Willie, on your retirement. We're all working to get where you are. I promise you, buddy. So again, Rusty and Bob, we'll turn it back to you to close, and appreciate everybody being here today.
Okay, great job today. Great meeting, good content, very well done. Again, congratulations to everybody that was recognized today. And I'm glad you brought Willie up. Willie's had a great career as an athletic administrator and certainly as a head football coach. And Spring ISD is in good hands. So good job today by everybody. Bob?
Yes, sir.
Just a closing comment. Just thanks to Ray for allowing us to have this this format in this meeting today. We had about 142 people that were online at any given time. I'll get it edited and I'll provide the link for Ray so you can share it with those folks who were not able to attend today's meeting. Thanks again.
So when you send me that link, I'll send out the agenda. And again, thank you guys. Have a great spring break. Get some rest. Take care.
Thank you guys.